Probably the one thing that I'm really happy I made myself extremely busy post-sport. There's a few things that I identified that I really wanted to do, and I was always conscious of those and tried to set those up as best as I could throughout my career. But being just really busy, just not even giving yourself time to think about the what-ifs with sport. I mean, for me, I walked away from an Olympic Games where I was half a second away from winning a third gold medal in a row, which meant a lot to me, but I haven't really had time to look back on that and be depressed about it or think, you know, what if, wish I saw him out there a few hundred metres earlier rather than right at the race. Those sort of things I've thought about briefly, but I haven't really let them get me down or worry me. So I guess one of the things that's really stood out for me is that I've just made myself so busy and really occupied my time with the other ambitions that I had outside of sport that I haven't thought about some of the failures or things that, you know, personal failures to me or things that I didn't achieve. So, and I think that's why a lot of people can come out of retirement sport, because they can sit around and think about those things and think, oh, I want to come back and rectify those situations. And so I think if you have something that is permanent and full-time that you can really get stuck into, that you're passionate about. And so that's probably been the one, the biggest thing that I've found that's been good for me post-sport. Oh, I've always been conscious of it from day one, because as an athlete, you never know when you could break a leg, get a shoulder injury, and be forced into retirement. It's not necessarily up to you a lot of the time. You know, for most athletes, it's probably not. It's probably wear and tear on the body that actually forces you out of sport earlier than you probably saw yourself. And for me, it was as soon as I left high school, I made sure I was in university. I made sure I could chip away at my degree there and educate myself in the meantime and know that, you know, any sort of money that I was making, I was investing. I wasn't necessarily going out and spending it. I was having a lifestyle, but I was keeping everything in check and balance to make sure that I was conscious of that at any stage. You could, tomorrow, you know, something could really go wrong, or there could be a bad performance and your financial support mightn't be there. So I was always conscious of that throughout my career, but I was pretty fortunate that I got to go out on my own terms. And probably 2 years before 2008, I was thinking, yeah, I most likely will retire after this Olympic Games. I might go another year or two onwards. Probably, most definitely won't go to the age of 32 to London. And so I was trying to put things in place then that could allow me to step into, you know, fortunate. I always wanted to go into banking, so I fortunately got to go into that and TV presenting. So neither of those were absolutely concrete, but I was just making that, you know, the awareness and putting things in place where I could have the opportunities to perhaps pursue those. Well, I guess I was probably just on holiday and I realised, yep, no, that was it. Straight after the Olympics, within those first few days, I just wanted to compete to London more than anything, because, you know, I missed my desired result by such a small margin. And then I think you have to wait till the dust settles and then reflect on your whole career. And, you know, once I got an opportunity to do that, I did have those opportunities come to me in terms of the presenting on telly and an opportunity in the world of finance. So, and I thought these passions were actually starting to overgrow the passion of what I wanted to achieve in swimming. I was always passionate about the sport, I still am, but those passions outgrew that, and I thought, well, you know, I've got a couple of great opportunities there. I feel like I've done the best I could in the sport, so it was time to move on. So, yeah, it was probably only a month or two after the Olympics where I really knew. Once the dust had settled, it was very easy. I knew what I wanted to do and what path I wanted to take. But yeah, once I actually got to the point of actually shutting that book, it was easy to put it down and to move on to the next one. There's nothing I regret, but there's a few things I would most certainly do differently. You know, be a bit more conscious of my health when I was training and probably not push myself as much. My shoulder injury, I probably would have given that a little bit more time before I went to surgery. You know, these are all hindsight's a wonderful thing, but yeah, I wish I was more aware of the guy out in lane 7 in my final race. So there's all these sorts of things you do differently, but as a whole, in in general terms, not at all. I felt like I did the absolute best I could, and I committed myself 100% to my sport, into my preparation, into my execution of competition. So as a whole, no. I think just the raw ingredients of success. I think those fundamental things that I will certainly take, working together as a team, the leadership qualities I had in being captain of my team, and probably the personal leadership qualities I had in achieving my own goals. All those sort of raw ingredients that I guess that gave me the ability to have success within my sport, or set me up to have success in my sport, are certainly, and goal setting is one of those very basic ones that, you know, I'll just take into my business career outside of sport, and use those tools to be able to, you know, foresee, or, you know, I guess get to the point where I achieve the ambitions that I have outside of those things and within my professional career now. So, and there's pages of those that, you know, often they're quite easy to articulate, but they're terms that are thrown around all the time. But to actually put into practice and have a background of constantly putting those into practice every day is something that those tools are going to be fantastic moving forward.